Welcome back, guys. Here with my pops, the father and show, as we continue our series. Pops, what up, man? What's going on out there?
Man, it's going well out of here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Cowtown, Fort Worth, Texas. Going well, man.
Yeah, man. The weather here, we finally got some rain. For some reason, I like kind of cutting like the grass when they got that dew on it. And, got that sparkling green on there. So I hit that up. And I got to go buy some more string for my edger to edge it up. You always get on me about edging my yard up.
Oh, yeah.
To complete the process.
Yeah.
But, I use that as my reflection time. I know I got that from you, using that as my reflection time when I'm cutting the grass early in the morning, before that sun hit.
Oh, yeah.
So grateful for that, man. Grateful to just have the energy to do that. A lot of people didn't get up this morning, man. And so me and you are here today. And I'm blessed. You see, I got my gear on, my omelet hat.
Yeah, I see
shirt. I'm living in truth, man. That's our motto for the rest of the year, living in truth. And I think that's what we have to do. Self-access, be truthful about our progress, be honest with ourselves about what we need to work on and the things we need to do to accomplish our goals. And so I know you listened to the show. We had a special guest earlier this week, Brother Odell Bazell. I know you listened to it. What were your thoughts on that show? And let's start off with, after you give me your thoughts on the show, go ahead and lead us into the events that happened the past weekend, not too far from me, about really 100 miles away in Charlottesville.
Yeah, Odell Brazil, man, that's a powerful brother. I enjoyed the show, listening to him. Great motivational speaker. Kind of talked about how huge it is for to make sure you take care of the family. Take care of the inside, the outside will be taken care of. Man, I was just it was enlightening to hear this young brother really empower a lot of older men like myself to remind us of who we are and what we can do and how he perceive and look at things, man, and how he tried at first not react to a whole lot of negativity things out there, but he first he evaluate, get it, and look at it and see it for what it is, and then he give his opinion on it. That was great. It was great to hear him say that, man. Yeah, it was a great show. Boy, I want to encourage the listeners to go back and look at that.
Right.
Listen to him. Listen to that show that the two of you did, man. That was a great show.
Yeah, man. I met that brother we have a mutual mentor, Brother Vince Harris, out there in the Charlotte area, and we share the same mentor in our professional speaking business, and so definitely he's a great guy. I'm glad he was able to set a time out his busy schedule to come on the Do What You Love What You Do podcast. Hey, you guys can check that show out on the website, dreamchaseracademy.net. Click on motivational blog, and then you can click on the podcast, and you can also listen to it on iTunes. And by the way, our listeners that use iTunes, hey, I need you to do a huge favor. I need you to go rate the show and write a review for us. That will help us a lot. Again, we're giving this content to you for free, but we like to have numbers to reflect that, and it helps us in the process when we go out and we venture out to new events and new ideas that we're trying to bring to you guys. So make sure you leave us a review and rate the show if you have iTunes. And if you're listening on YouTube, go ahead and put a comment on there as well. You can also comment on the website, but the biggest thing is iTunes. Leave a comment, and on YouTube. And guys, please share. If you find this information helpful to you with what we talk about here on Do What You Love and Love What You Do, we would love for you to share with your friends and family so we can also spread the love and spread the wealth. I went to church Sunday, and it's a young pastor, Pastor Gordon, Vernon Gordon out here, and he talked about some of the events that happened this past weekend, and it was hurtful to see, man, what was going on and what transpired, and I sometimes, as you see now, I'm a loss for words. Don't know, what we can do as a country to move forward. But we do need to come up with solutions. The message is out there. It's being talked about, which is good. And we got a few individuals in the professional sports world that are bringing it to the table, bringing it to the light. This racism isn't going anywhere, and people try to push it under the rug. When Obama was president, it kind of got pushed under the rug and say, hey, you guys, and they say you guys finally got a black president. What else do you want? Type attitude. And so talk about some of those events not some of those events, the event in the Charlottesville area. And me being in Texas is nothing like it's not brand new. It's not anything new information to me, what's going on with that. Talk about that with the clergy down there in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. What were the thoughts? I mean, are y'all preparing for something like this in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, to happen? People come out the woodworks and do something similar. What were the talks to the clergymen, and what are y'all doing to prepare for that?
Well, to be honest with you, Jay, white folks came out of the closet when we elected a black president. I can remember Barack Obama, one of his speeches to the halls of a congressman and U.S. representative, when one of the senators called him a liar right on the floor. I think I honestly believe that's when it started, and that led me to believe, and nothing was done about it, and that led me to believe that our nation has been in a state of emergency. We can try to sweep it and hide it under the rug all we want to, but that was my state of emergency then, when the first black president was disrespected by one of those congressmen on the halls of the floor in front of the whole world. While he gave his speech. The congressman literally said, "You liar," called him a liar. And I think that started the wheels in motion of a bunch of whites who maybe didn't say very much. And if they were in the closet, and if they did have a hood on, they took the hoods off and they came out of the closet. And now you see the results a year later of what they really think. From our pulpits to those, to our neighbors, to those who say that they're our brothers. I'm 57 years old, and I have two white friends in this world who I can talk to about this situation. I just don't believe that there's nobody else in this world would sit down and talk to me about it of the other race, and specifically talk about the white race. So it's the Charlottesville situation it's not a surprise to me, because I've seen it coming, and now that it's here, I'm wondering how we're going to deal with it. Because I talked to my two white friends. I talked to them, and we talked about it, and they're disgusted about it, and they're just shaking their heads. They're ashamed. They're real. They cannot believe what they seen. But I told them to welcome to my world. Welcome to my world. So, but it's shameful. It's a president that double talks. I think there need to be a house cleaning from our house to the state house to the White House. It need to be a house cleaning on this racial thing, with our churches as well. Our nation need a racial healing, but we got to admit we have a racial problem.
Right.
So yeah, that's my take.
So I think the frustrating thing to a lot of us is the boldness of white people, the boldness of it, of them coming out of hiding now, and knowing that there won't be any repercussions of their quote unquote gathering or marches. Whereas if people of color, blacks or Hispanics, if we get together, it's either called a riot or a protest. It has a negative connotation to it. And so, and me and Brother Odell talked about this. Some people just feel that we're outnumbered. There's not enough of us to make any noise. Like I said earlier, they gave us a black president, and they feel that that everything is fair now. Some of them feel like that, but it's like I read a post. I shared this with the last podcast. Read a post talking about people complain about McDonald's. The cups are cheap. The material they use is cheap. That only makes up 15% of the business. The other 85% is what actually makes McDonald's profitable. So what he was saying is that blacks only make up 15% of the population, and that our problems seem minuscule to the overall 85% that of the population that live in this country. So they were saying that number wise, we're beaten so bad that even if we do make any noise, it's not enough of us. Do you agree, disagree, or what?
Well, I certainly agree. I think that now, like ever before, we have to show up to grow up. And what I mean by that, we cannot sit idle and be silent on this issue. We have to keep this issue at the forefront from in our communities. We have to do more than talk about it. Action, to me, speak louder than words. And man, it's here. It's in athletics. It's in our classrooms. It's in our colleges. It's on our college campuses. It's in our nation's White House. So it's here, man. You can't sit here and deny what you see. What you see and what's being said, it's true. This is not a dream. It's the real deal. Our nation, our president, our pastors across our nation, our biggest conventions, our Southern Baptists, we're dealing with racial hurt and racial division, and it starts with, I believe it starts with us, those of us who are in leadership.
Right, I definitely agree with that. Let's talk about, you said athletes. They still talking about Colin Kaepernick. He's been quiet, so I think his motives behind it and his job is done, because they're still talking about this man, and he hasn't said anything to the media. They're still talking about, the biggest thing is he doesn't have a job, but it's still leading the conversation. The ESPN tried to make something about Marshawn Lynch, who hasn't stood up for 11 years for the anthem. As we know, Marshawn Lynch, he rarely talks to the media, a very private person, and he stands on what he believes in and believes for, and what he does his actions for. And I think it's going to take more athletes. I think it's going to take those, again, it's going to take a Tom Brady, a Aaron Rodgers to come out and say something, a Larry Bird, Jerry West, to come out and say some of these things that are high-profile athletes that are not that are white, to really say something and start a movement among their specific sports and their communities, and I think that will also help bring the conversation more to a forefront. But we all know at the end of the day, money is power. Money is a resource used for leverage. And so, like me and Brother Odell talked about, we're going to have to grow our black communities back up and circulate our dollar within our black communities. Even though we represent only 15% of the United States, we are the biggest consumers. We're the only race that spends more than we make on a yearly basis. So there's a lack of financial education right there on that part. So if we're able to fix some of these things, that it can lead us in the right direction. So this week, man, for me, you know, we're dealing with a tough loss in our family. You know, I grew up with dogs, in and out the house. And with me and Danielle were dating, I bought her a dog, and DJ was part of the family. And we had to put him to sleep this week due to renal disease, kidney failure. So it was a connection there. So, you know, fortunately, my son is under the age of 2, not 2 yet. So he really doesn't understand what's going on, but that was his best friend, his best bud. So definitely keep our family in your prayers and dealing with that. And we could talk about the connection with pets all day. Me and you are animal lovers, period. You know, whether we had a pet lion or a pet bear.
That's right. That's right.
You know, we do that. And Joseph is too. My son is too. He'll watch Animal Planet and yell at the screen like he's lying and roar.
Yeah.
You know, so that connection there, you know, those you build, just like you have relationships with people, those relationships can be formed with pets. And pets have, especially dogs, have seen to help people, you know, with different therapeutic things, dogs, horses. So definitely it's been tough this week for us. And I know you used to come visit, and y'all, you and DJ used to go walking and things like that.
Oh yeah.
He was a great dog. So that's what we've been dealing with, man. But other than that, man, blessed as usual, hard working, grinding. Wrote some on the book. I'm writing on a chapter called Grit, and what the word grit really means. And you know, it broke that down. You got to have grit, man, to reach the top of the ladder of success, or to keep climbing that ladder and reach those goals that you set out to do. You got to have that grit. And today we're going to talk about we're going to have a man-to-man talk. And so, you know, I've only been married a little bit under 5 years. It'll be 5 years this next coming year. But so we're going to talk about relationships, man, and what does it really mean to be the man of the house? They say man of the house. What does that really mean? You know, what does that mean, Dad? We talked about being the man of the house.
When I think about being the man of the house, I think about being the two things actually. There's been the king and there's been the warrior. The king is the one that provides for everything. He provides for everything in that house. You know, earlier you talked about how when you cut your yard, you like a well manicured yard, and you like a yard that's edged real good. I think it's set off the yard when people can walk by your place of living or drive by. Mm-hmm. I honestly believe when they see curb appeal, when they see everything set in order, I think people will really begin to say that they develop an impression about you right then, to say, you know, whoever is in that castle, whoever is in that house, I'm willing to bet with you there's a man who keep himself together. Because 9 times out of 10, if he keep his yard manicured, keep all that in order, he probably is living a life to keep himself in order. So it's the king in us. It's the one for every man to provide for his family. Every man is willing to be the last one to go to bed, but the first one to get up in the morning.
Right.
And in my case, if when Regina leave in the morning, I'm right there. I'm right there making sure she get in the car safe. I don't go into the house until I see that car. I watch her drive all the way down to the street corner, and when she make that turn, I know that she's safely driving on to work. So that early man, last one to go to bed at night, I'll wake up at 2 or 3, sometimes 4 in the morning, and recheck the doors and look outside and say a prayer. And but that's the king in me. That's That's me being the one who provide. Now the warrior in me is being the one who's proactive. I'm always proactive to, watching out and making sure that everything in the house is in the right place, ready. I call myself a peace officer. I want to keep peace in my house.
That's right.
But if I need to fight, a peace officer is on call 24/7. So I'm, I carry my peace with me, and so if I'm ready to fight, I'm ready to go to war at any time. So, but that's that's the Bible called it the good fight of faith.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that's what I believe in, that every man should be the king of his house. But also, we need warriors in our home. We need warriors to make sure that things are right. And if we need to right the wrong, we're right there to right the wrong. And we, without an apology, So yeah, that's powerful, man.
Yeah, and that is, and we talked about that. We talk about legacy all the time on DCA content, and what comes to my mind really when we talk about being a man and the legacy part is Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and those are men in the Bible, and yes, they had their flaws. I was listening to Tony Evans talking about, my name's Jacob. He talked about Jacob the deceiver. And God uses all of us, but Jacob had a calling, a favor, blessings on his life because of the legacy of his forefathers, of Isaac and his grandfather Abraham.
Mm-hmm.
So he already had that. He already had that on his life, and then he passed it down to his son Joseph, who became king over everything. And so Joseph was able to reap the benefits of the legacy passed down all the way down from Abraham. Yeah. And I think that's what we have to remember. What we have to remember that as men, that we're starting legacies. And I think Tony Evans left us with a verse in Leviticus. He was talking about the fatherless. And there's a verse in Leviticus that talks about the fatherless. The fatherless will suffer. And we see that now. I mean, that is in the Bible. We're seeing it now. We're seeing this. We see the statistics about whether you're black, white, Hispanic, Chinese, whatever. If you don't have a father in your life, father present, there are more people in jail that don't have fathers or end up in a situation that's not favorable because there wasn't any father figure in their life. So I think, that's also part of being a man, is accepting your responsibility, and that you have a role to play, not only in your house, but in the community as well, to be a father, not only to your kids, but to other kids in the community as well. As we talk, as we have this man-to-man talk, Dad, talk about, one of the, you see married couples all the time, and they come in, you have the man, you have the woman, they're in your office, and talk about some of especially for me, what do I need to look out for? What is the biggest thing? We always hear about finances, probably one of the biggest divorce that leads up to divorce is finances. We all know that. What are some of the other things that just there's a clash in between newlyweds such as myself? What are you seeing, and what are you telling them? How are you helping those young couples?
Yeah, here's what I tell young couples. Even if I had you and Danielle to come to my office right now, the very first thing I tell you all, and I think this is the number one thing across America with families and husband and wives and young new married couples, is communication. How do you communicate vision? How do you communicate what you want from each other? How do you communicate the very fact of the need that you have for one another? And if you communicate, listen to what I said, how do you communicate it? Do you communicate it with an understanding where each spouse understands where one's coming from? Because a lot of times what I've learned about 37 years is not that I didn't communicate it. is I didn't communicate it in a way where Regina understood it. So it's communicated. And then secondly, character. And this is across the board. If you're going to have any success in your marriage or your business, what you do is you have to have character. People need to know that when the name Jacob Crane is mentioned, people are not choking on water, or they're not falling, or they're not looking the other way because there are so many flaws that when your name is called, it's an embarrassment. So character, not only character, but the choices you make. What type of choices do you make? Do you make the choice that I'm going to be one who come early and stay late on my assignment? I'm going to over deliver on my assignment. I'm going when I walk away from what I'm called to do, I've done the best that I could with the assignment that was given to me. So it's coming early, staying late. It's over delivering. It's doing the very best you can. And then the last, I call it the big three: your character, your choices, and then your conduct. How do you conduct yourself? If you get good character, that flow into how you conduct yourself. When people hear you, people hear the name Jacob Crane, immediately they're gonna know character. They're gonna know how you conduct yourself. They're gonna know what you would have done. I got a friend of mine who's with the Lord now. One of his character traits is that you can bank on him being where he say he's gonna be,
right?
And what time he said he was gonna be. I can remember when he didn't show up for work in the pizza business. The owner of the pizza made the comment: either Mike is in a bad auto accident or Mike is dead, one of the two. That's how much we knew him, and it was the latter. He had died in his sleep of a heart attack because we knew him that well that he never come late.
Right.
Always early. He always over deliver. He was always one who was on time and to fulfill the assignment. And I think when in a marriage and business and in whatever you do, people need to know your character, your choices you make, and your conduct.
Right.
That's what I say to myself, trying to be better every day.
Right.
As a husband, a pastor, a father, and a grandfather. That's how I try to live my life.
Well, you're not trying. You are living a life. You're providing an example for me and our listeners and your members of the church. So you are doing it, and you're doing a great job of it. And you talked about a couple of things. I heard you kept saying business, and our show, one of the biggest things we talk about is entrepreneurship and business, and that communication piece is key in business, especially if you have business partners, man. And so you talked about communicating your marriage, and these are things that we want you guys to work on that go across the board. All right, so like Pop said, it's not just in your marriage. You take these things, you take your character, you take these communication skills, and you transfer them to your business and your profession and your career as well. And so you continue to work on these things on a daily basis, like you just said, and then you'll see things start to progress in your life. Like our boy Johnny Wimbrey say, increase. Things start to increase in every area of your life. And let's go on and talk about that, man. Me and you have done a lot of businesses together, man. And as a man to man, we know each other. We know each other's tendencies. We know what we like and dislike. We know what to bring to the table. We know what not to bring to the table. And this relationship has grown over the years, and definitely I'm happy to say that it's with my father. A lot of people can't say that. Brother Odell used the word black privilege, privilege. And what that means is, I grew up with two parents. That's what that means. Yes, I am a product of black privilege. So don't hate me for it. But yes, I've been blessed, and I have two parents that loved me very much and still do. But I have been able to develop a business relationship with my father as well. We're able to separate that from our other dealings. Dad, talk about how you're able to separate your business from being a pastor and not using, I see a lot of pastors using their influence to bring their members and other people into their business. Maybe it's a network marketing company, or maybe it's another investment, but they use their influence to do that. How do you draw that line for yourself to keep that separate and kind of you pick and choose and be cognizant of the fact that, you know who to present business opportunities to, or you know who to go on business with people with, and you know not to do it with members of the church per se.
That's great. Boy, that I think that's a great topic. What may work for some pastors may not work for all pastors. I just choose to do business with people who are outside the membership, unless I'm approached by the membership to say, we want a piece of what you're doing. I think that the membership should be for myself. Now, other pastors have been successful in bringing a total membership in on what they're doing, network marketing, whatever the case may be. Church have been successful people, and pastors have been successful. That's their thing. But for myself, unless I'm approached, one of the members approach me and say, I like what you're doing. I like your success. How can I be? By all means, I'll show them. But that's not part of my MO. But part of my MO is that I can see a brother. I may see a brother, and two in particular, two brothers who 10 years ago, one used to carry a toolbox, and he's a great friend, and one of my best friends, great friend of mine, Cecil, used to carry his toolbox around, doing mobile mechanic, and I didn't like him carrying the toolbox around doing mobile mechanic. I told him, you need your own mechanic shop, and on the other hand, I had another brother who had a commercial toolbox just sitting in his garage, wasn't doing anything with it. The way Cecil Super got started to this day, been over 10 years ago here in this area. I went to my other brother, Sam. I said, Sam, you're not doing anything. Give me that toolbox. I'll pay for it. It's a commercial toolbox. It's going to put Cecil in business. It's going to help him do what he needs to do. And I'll pay you later, Sam. We go to Sam's house, get that brand new commercial toolbox, find Cecil a garage to start his auto mechanic business. Here we are, 10 years later. Cecil is a successful auto mechanic man for his service. Cecil Super Auto Mechanic, very successful. A year or two later, maybe not even a year later, with Sam, the other businessman, Sam fell on hard times. Sam had lost everything he had in his first marriage. Sam was at the bottom. He was on his last wit, and he was a truck driver, and they wouldn't put him in that truck because of what he was going through. He couldn't drive the truck anymore. So Sam came to me and said, "You took my toolbox. What do I do now?" I said, "Great. Can you mow a lawn?" Sam said, "Yes, but I don't have any money to buy the equipment." I went to my wife and told my wife, "Listen, I want to help Sam out." I gave Sam my Home Depot card and told Sam, I said, "Listen, you do what you need to do to survive. Here's my card. Put whatever you want on it." Sam went and bought him a trailer. Sam went and bought him some lawn equipment. Sam got started 10 years ago, and to this day, Sam has his own janitorial and lawn company, and Sam's back in the truck driving. So those are the type of things that I do to help men out to make sure that they're successful in life. I try to be a conduit to put them out there and it's been a success with those men. Both of those men today are very successful. Both of them are married. Both of them are doing well with their families.
Yeah, we call people like you the connector, and I love being a connector. Just connect people together to make something grow. I've been doing that the last, last few years, man, just connecting people. If I can't help you, I'm gonna find somebody who can.
Oh yeah, man.
That's about
It make you feel so good, man. It's better to give than receive. By the way, Sam and I was laughing because I just paid that $2 off. You know, I just gave him the money for two. It took me so long to pay him. He just said, just give me half of what I asked for. And I said, by all means, I gave it to him. But the both of them are doing well because the both of them they had a need. I wanted to be there to help meet that need.
Right.
And so yeah, those are some of the things I see that our community need, that our churches need to be doing, that men need to be doing for each other. So man, it's good. It's great. It's great.
Yeah, man. And you leading the force. So I'm definitely proud of you on doing that. I'm following right behind your footsteps, man, and trying to just help as many people as we can. And as we continue to help people, we also need help ourselves to stay on track, Pops. And
Oh yeah.
I think that's where the word I think that comes to my mind is accountability.
Yeah.
And accountability partners. And for me and you, right now, our first accountability, is God. Who we answer to first. Second is our wives. We are each other's accountability partners, especially being early in the marriage. For me, we hold each other accountable for what a responsible father I need to be, husband, and I do the same for her. And we talk about circle of influence all the time. When I go speak, I talk to my students about circle of influence, people you surround yourself with. Some of those people can be your accountability partners. Those are people that are not going to say, hey, yeah, you're doing a good job all the time. These are people going to put you in check. Hey, Jake, man, you need to spend time more with your wife. You need to do this. Now, Jake, you was wrong in this situation. Those are the people we need, and that's who we call accountability partners. And as I get older, I'm your accountability partner. I'm making sure that you treat my mother right. I'm making sure that you are treating her like the queen that she is.
Oh yeah.
So, talk about that accountability piece real quick, and how does that play a role in your growth and development, and where how successful you are today being a pastor, having people hold you accountable for what you're doing out there in the community.
Yes, most certainly, Jake. I'm accountable to the Lord. I'm accountable to the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. That's my number one accountability to God, to the Word of God. That's, if I can just start there, then that's the foundation of accountability. And then secondly, I'm accountable to my wife, my spouse, Regina. There was a time when I wasn't so accountable. There was a time when I would come home and eat, I would grab the remote control and give me a TV tray and go sit on the couch and see what's on ESPN. I mean, my best practice was to fix my plate, say a quick verse, grab a TV tray, sat on the couch, get caught up on sports, ESPN, if not ESPN, wrestling, if not wrestling, the Animal Channel. But now I had to reprioritize my accountability. In going to marriage conferences and in listening to men who are older than I, to go down and sit down at the table, act like you've been raised right, as my mom would say. And sit down with your wife and talk to your wife. And man, I find that to be so refreshing, man. I didn't find out till later on in life to do that. But I find that to be so refreshing to eat with my wife, for she and I to talk about our daily activities, to take the time, turn the TV off, put the cell phone away, and just, talk to your spouse, man. And what I call it is you have to reprioritize yourself, and you have to rewire yourself in the right way that those who you prioritize, the things that you prioritize, you have to set them in order. I teach men, you got to set that in order. You're the king and the warrior of the family, and how you conduct yourself. And what your character is, and the choices that you make You have to set it in order, and I had to literally do that.
Right. You said those are marriage counseling, marriage conference yourself. You still went after 37 years of marriage. You telling me you still go to conferences?
Man, I got to go to conferences. I have to make sure that it's called maintenance check. Just like when you drive your car, you got to keep your oil changed. You got to make sure it's tuned up. You got to make sure the windows work in it. You got to make sure you rotate the tires. Yes. Marriage is work. One of the Sunday school teachers, one of your Sunday school teachers, I can remember her saying that marriage is hard work, and if you're lazy, you're not gonna like your marriage.
I think that applies to our life, man. People complain all the time, but if you're not putting in the work, you're not gonna like your life. If you're not working hard, the harder you work, the bigger the payoff. And that's towards our dreams and our passions. And people like me and yourself, man, we dream. There's no ceiling. I don't believe in ceilings. Everybody said the sky's the limit. The sky stops somewhere. But for me, there is no limit. There's no such thing as impossible. I dream so big, man. People sometimes look at me crazy. And that's how I know that my dream is big. When people don't believe in me, that's how I know my dream is too big. When people believe, when people say, yeah, man, that's a good idea, I understand that, it's not dreaming big enough. You know? I want to dream so big where people, think that's impossible. Just like, we talk about Steve Jobs and Apple, what he wanted to create, with the computer, be able to connect people through that brand. And people looked at him crazy. So, look what it's doing now. And Walt Disney, that's a prime example. Walt Disney and his friends, his business partner, quit on him. Didn't see the vision, didn't believe because his dream was so big. And I think that's what we all have to do, especially in the Black community. I think we are so stuck in this fear and this doubt that we stop dreaming. Martin Luther King, his famous speech, "I have a dream." Yeah. All right. And you have to dream for the impossible, for the possible to happen. And so it all starts with a vision. And so I'm gonna end with that. Pops, leave us with some words for the week. And what do we need to focus on this week?
Man, it's been so good. I can't believe time is up already. That means it's good. Let me leave you with this. And this is something that I've always lived by this, to always be the first one there and the last one to leave. Whatever the assignment is, over deliver. Try your best to over deliver. And the third thing is when you've done what you can do, when you've done the best that you could, you leave the rest to the Lord. When you can lay your head on the pillow and say, "Hey, I presented my best. I showed up early. I'm the last one to leave. I want to be accountable, and I over deliver. I over deliver. You can't go wrong with that. You really can't go wrong.
I like that. Under promise, over deliver. Don't give them too much, but then when you have your chance, you go tear it up. You go kill it. Again, guys, you like what you hear, share this podcast, iTunes, YouTube. Visit the website, dreamchaseracademy.net. Got a lot of things in store for this upcoming school year. Y'all need you guys to hold me accountable in finishing my book as I continue to write and get that out to you guys. Again, we appreciate you. Be back for next week's show. And we out.
God bless you. We'll see you later. See you next week.